Hello and welcome back to the Roman Cinema Podcast, where we watch the top movie each week and then we come on here and chat about it. My name is Emma.
My name is Wyatt.
And we just got done watching Jurassic World Dominion. Right off the bat, what'd you think?
This is a very loud movie. It's very big, it's very loud, and it's very in your face, and that's my main takeaway.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you said that. I thought maybe I was sitting under a speaker or something because I was like, holy crap, this is really loud. But I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that helps add to the movie when it feels like you're, right in it. So, and obviously the creatures and stuff are very loud, so it makes sense that the movie would be that way as well.
Right.
So for a little context, the synopsis of this movie is: experience the epic conclusion to the Jurassic era as two generations unite for the first time. Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard are joined by Oscar-winning Laura Dean, Jeff Goldblum, and Sam Neill in Jurassic World Dominion, a bold, timely, and breathtaking new adventure that spans the globe. From Jurassic World architect and director Colin Trevorrow, Dominion takes 4 years after Isla Nublar has been destroyed. Dinosaurs now live and hunt alongside humans all over the world. This fragile balance will reshape the future and determine once and for all whether human beings are to remain the apex predators on a planet they now share with the history's most fearsome creatures. To be honest, I feel like this description is kind of off about what the movie is actually about, in my opinion.
It's selling it short a little bit. Obviously, yes, it's about, it's about everything they listed, but there's also a lot of weird geopolitical implications that they throw down there. That's all right, so it's about dinosaurs and global politics. Excellent.
Yeah, but it was also about they touched on the family dynamic and kind of more into a certain character's background. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah. I thought that was a really big part of the movie too.
It was, yeah.
Which I didn't really know going into it, but I was pleasantly surprised. I thought that was good. So a review from CNN comments on the film in saying, with Colin Trevorrow back in the director's chair, having also kicked off this trio of Jurassic World movies, and sharing script credits with Emily Carr Mitchell, the story brings back Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, picking up where Fallen Kingdom left off in terms of their oversight of Maisie, now a restless teenager. Yet the emotional core comes from reuniting the stars of 1993 original Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum, with the years having been kind to them, even if writing hasn't. I love the original Jurassic Park movie.
It's a classic.
You just can't beat it,
It's
honestly.
essential.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
I have, yes.
Okay, good. So you did your homework. It was so exciting for the time, with the visuals and stuff, that just makes it so special.
It cemented Steven Spielberg as a powerhouse in terms of directing and just creative minds in film at that time. So yeah, it's in the history of film, Jurassic Park is one of those movies that's always going to be looked at as this was a turning point. This started a movement, and this was just huge for so many things at the time,
For sure, yeah. Jurassic Park, this is from the same review from CNN. Jurassic Park, both the book and the movie, contained the underlying "Don't fool with Mother Nature" warning, and Dominion overtly incorporates what anyone paying attention would recognize as an environmental message. So you kind of touched on this in the beginning, that they were definitely trying to push that, whether it's politics or not, that kind of message.
Yeah.
Which I think, depending on your stance, that's definitely not uncalled for.
Yeah, it's when it comes to making anything, there's inspiration and there's things that drive how you write. And so for the writers, I believe Trevorrow was one of the writers on this movie. There's a few, but obviously with them, and they take this is based on a book, and so with the writing, there's always something that inspires it and causes it to be made. And so their concerns about the world are put into this movie. And so, you don't have to watch it with that in mind, but when you do, you start to like pick up on things and you go, yeah, that's why they did that.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I think that they did it in a nice way that doesn't take away from the fantasy, and it's also not like shoving down your throat necessarily.
There's this one movie, it's called Mother. I think who's it starring? Starring Jennifer Lawrence, I want to say, and it's like it's the whole movie is a metaphor for like how we treat Mother Nature, but a lot of like it is like so like heavy and in your face that like this is a metaphor for Mother Nature that it like turned a lot of people away from it. It gets like weird. So, I'm glad they didn't go that direction with the whole Jurassic Park franchise. They did it in a much more digestible way.
Yeah, for sure. Like, because I had read this review before going into the movie, so I was really looking out for it. And I don't think it hits you in the face as much as you think it would. Like,
yeah.
I was looking for it, obviously, and even then it was like, oh, was that kind of what they were getting at there? So I think that was a very positive part of this movie. The most pleasing elements thus reside in the occasional quieter moments, from unexpected interactions to snippets of John Williams' original theme to Goldblum's chaos theory sprouting, Ian Malcolm's life finds a way snideness, reminding those around him that what they're doing is dangerous and stupid. And yeah, I mean, I thought Ian's character was funny, and I thought it lightened up the...
Yeah. Sometimes it felt a little out of place, I will say, but I am biased because I love Jeff Goldblum, loved him in the original, love him in just everything. Just the way he speaks is just, it's like, he can say anything and I'll be interested. And so, I just have this bias towards him. Like, he's just the guy. He's just the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so... there was humor in it, whether it was welcome or not necessarily is left to your judgment, but it does help lighten up the movie for a little more of a casual viewing and not so intense. So this is the 6th Jurassic movie of the franchise, the 3rd in the Jurassic World series, and it's kind of said to be the end of the series. What's your opinion on how it wrapped up?
I thought it wrapped up in a nice way. I thought maybe the wrapping up might have been a tad bit overdue. Don't know how they were able to get 6 movies out of it, but when it all wraps up, I was like, okay, that's nice.
Yeah, I would say that the ending was very satisfying, but you really had to wait till the end. Like I felt like it took a long time to wrap up, and this is a long movie, so it's 2.5 hours, and that felt too long in my opinion, but also it was like full of action, so it keeps it moving. It wasn't like checking your watch all the time, but like the ending felt like stuff's happening, and then the last 15 minutes we're gonna wrap it all up, wrap up the entire series. And it was just like, holy crap, like that came kind of out of nowhere, and like I think they could have done it a little longer. Yeah,
but it was a satisfying conclusion, and even if it felt a little bit sudden, it's like that's a lot of story and history to wrap up, and so I thought they did a good job. Colin Trevorrow was originally slated to direct the last of the sequel trilogy for Star Wars. I'm remembering. It was under the working title like Duel of the Fates. There's a lot of concept art that people like from it, and this sort of just makes me think like, man, what could have been? Because like, I think if that series had concluded in a similar fashion to this one, I think I probably would have liked it a little bit better.
Yeah, coming back to the CNN review, they kind of comment on the ending as well. So based on past performance, it's hard to see Dominion as the end of anything, particularly if the movie can tap into it the renewed jet-propelled life that moviegoing is exhibiting this summer, currently fueled by another sequel. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of referencing. So they're discussing Top Gun here.
Oh yeah.
That's what they're referencing. But
I thought they were referencing Downton Abbey.
Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a satisfying ending. You know, it's had tough competition, like going up against, I mean, Vanity Fair kind of comments on the nostalgia of this film, which kind of ties in to properly enjoy Dominion. You have to untether it from the fond memories of the 1993 film, staged with such an elegant awe and thundering thrill by Spielberg. And I would say it's very different than the original, which obviously it's part of a different series, so you wouldn't expect it to be so similar. But also, like, I think the magic is kind of worn off.
Yeah, because when you see these giant dinosaurs on screen for 5 movies, like the 6th one isn't gonna hit you any different, really. Like, and the dinosaurs, I would say, were cool-ish, but it's like it's nothing different. And just like looking at it, it's like I know like the technology has evolved so much since the 93, so it's like I don't know. It just felt weird at times. It felt clunky. Like I couldn't tell if like we were looking at like computer animated dinosaurs at times, or if they were like puppets from the way they moved.
Yeah, I wasn't like too impressed with the graphics on this, honestly. Like I was really excited for that to see like the difference. But honestly, I mean, obviously they're much more advanced now, but it just felt so much, honestly, like more realistic and like kind of scary in the original, in my opinion.
Yeah, because there's just something about it that's like it was just so new and exciting, and you still get that feeling when you like rewatch the original. It's like something like Jaws as well, where you look at it and it's like I know like shark movies have like such evolved technology that you can make them like so much more realistic or whatever, but it's like just looking at like old school Jaws, it's like that's still like just like the peak of like that, because it was just so new and exciting at the time.
Yeah, and honestly, I might like be speaking out of nostalgia and just remembering like that I was scared when I was littler, like because it felt more real when you're little, but I don't know, it just, I know I keep saying this, but it just had more magic in my opinion. Like this is more of just like, yeah, it's a movie and it's a good movie.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like an extension of that, of the original.
Yeah.
So the review from Vanity Fair continues in saying this movie is not meant for squinting or other close analyses, meaning this movie is meant to be enjoyed at face value, not any more or any less. And I would definitely agree.
Yeah.
I think you go in there, take it for what it is. I think you can watch it without having seen any of the other movies. A little the backstories of the characters is missing then there, but the storyline is easy to follow with or without prior knowledge. And this continues on in saying writings about frustrations of nostalgia projects have plagued multiplexes for years and is very common. So, the amount of reviews that are out there right now aren't very kind to this movie because of the name attached to it and the nostalgia factor. And I would say it doesn't have hardly any, especially compared to what we saw. Like I think that was nostalgia done well, and this was just a movie.
Yeah.
That didn't tap into that, at least for me, personally.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's that attachment to the original that like people personally have, and then it's like if you see something that like you're not happy with, or you feel like strays away from the original, you're like, why is this name even attached to it? But it's not completely attached. This is Jurassic World, not Jurassic Park.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that you got to keep that in the back of your mind, because it is like a different series and it's meant to be different. So any other final thoughts?
Not really. I think it's at face value, this is just a large, grand movie that has been building up, and you can definitely feel it. The sound design, this is the first movie where like the sound design I like actually like listen to, and I'm like, yeah, because like you can just feel it. And this is, like I like movies that you can feel.
Yeah, well, and even like they have they really paid attention to the sound and the sound effects. Like they would be times when birds are chirping in the background, and that just really helps with that immersive experience where you're not just listening to the characters' voices, you're listening to their surroundings. And you know, obviously lots of movies do that, but whether it's done to where you notice it and feel that its effects, you know, is another story of whether movies can do that or not. And I think they did that really well.
Yeah. We don't know what dinosaurs sounded like.
Exactly.
This is just like, I don't know. I was just thinking about like, this is just them guessing as to like what dinosaurs sounded like. Like we can estimate, but like it could have been like way more high pitched.
Right. Yeah.
It could have sounded like Gilbert Gottfried. We don't know. But
yeah, so overall I would say it was a great, it's a good watch for sure.
Yeah.
And definitely worth it. I wouldn't say it's worth a waste of your time or anything like that. Especially if you like the franchise.
Yeah.
And it's really conclusive and it's nice and it leaves you on a good note. So what else is playing at the cinema this weekend? Top Gun is still here. Top Gun Maverick, the Bob's Burgers movie. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is still here, and so is The Bad Guys. All great options, really great options. So, you know, I'll definitely come to see one or all for sure. And then next week we have an exciting movie coming. Lightyear is going to be here.
Indeed it is.
And so a little synopsis of this. A sci-fi action adventure and the definitive origin story of Buzz Lightyear, the hero who inspired the toy Lightyear, follows the legendary space ranger after he's marooned a hostile planet 4.2 million light years from Earth alongside his commanders and their crew. As Buzz tries to find a way back home through space and time, he's joined by a group of ambitious recruits and his charming robot companion cat, Socks. Complicating matters and threatening the mission is the arrival of Zurich, an imposing presence on an army of ruthless robots and a mysterious agenda. I think this movie is going to be really fun, and I think it's going to be really, obviously great for kids. But yeah, I'm excited for this because I think it's Pixar, right?
Yeah.
And Pixar always, I feel like they always do well.
Pixar has a trend of delivering on movies. I mean, you know, we're talking about old franchises. Here's another one being brought back, and I'm just curious, like how does this work? Like, how does this connect to the toy Buzz Lightyear? Like, is this like the memory that is like implanted in all of the action figures? Because there's a ton of them. We saw that there's a ton of, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting, like how much they tie in Toy Story and that kind of stuff. Which I think, you know, whether they do it or not, I think it'll still be good. But
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how much they bring back of the original. So, yeah. Any other comments before we sign off?
No, just
Great.
Love dinosaurs.
Yeah. So, it's always a great time to come into the movies, and there's a lot more show times now that it's summer. So,
yes,
a lot more chances to see the movies that you're excited for, and this summer is just gonna be a really great time for movie releases. So
yeah, and hey, if there's some movies out there that you might not think you're gonna like, but you know what, you can be pleasantly surprised. So you know, always come on out. There's definitely gonna be some that I will say look a little out there, a little weird, but I'm very excited to see a lot of movies this summer, and there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, a lot of talent, a lot of good titles. So yeah, well, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.